Hello, everybody. This is Irina Strunina, and this is our podcast, Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360. This is the new year, 2025. This is our second episode this year, and I know that a lot of people during this period of time, at the beginning of the year, uh, they make plans, they schedule different important appointments. People are ready to start working. So today, for that exactly reason, we have a very special guest, Chuck Barnard. He is the mindset mentor. So he is the guy who is helping people to actually see the clarity in what they want to achieve, why they want to achieve it, and what are the ways to get there. So, Chuck, welcome to the show. I am happy that you had time to meet with me today, and please tell a little bit about yourself so people will feel a little bit more comfortable contacting you and reaching out and talk with you.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you. My background actually was in education. I have had a lot of training in neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy techniques, hypnotherapy, advanced behavioral modeling. Got my master's degree in special education, and that kind of through a circumstances, found my way into public education, working with students who struggled in school.
Mhm.
And ultimately, the challenges that they had were really mindset related. And in education, we talk a lot about growth mindset. I'm not sure how much your audience may have become familiar with Carol Dweck and the work of she's done in terms of mindset. But growth mindset is kind of what we talk about in education. What we want our students to have. Uh, and so many of the ones I worked with were had what we call fixed mindset. And essentially, the difference there between the two mindsets is with a growth mindset, you don't believe that your skill set and your knowledge, your intelligence was predetermined by genetics and things like that. It can change, it can grow.
Mhm.
Fixed mindset, no, this is the way I was, this is the way I was born, this is it, and I'm fixed. And so people with a fixed mindset tend to give up easier. They don't persevere, faces setbacks. They don't tend to learn from the successes of other people. And all of those things are really kind of broken down into sets of beliefs and emotions that they've stored inside themselves.
Yeah.
That's really what a mindset is.
Mhm.
So, in all my years working with students, our job was really before we get them successful academically, we had to shift their mindset. And I did work with athletes, the same thing. I began to realize through this and all the issues kids were coming to the table with that it really began to impact like every area of their life. This didn't just help academics, just didn't help athletics. It helped their relationships. It helped their health tremendously.
Yes.
Um, and then in 2022, all this stuff really hit home personally.
Mhm.
Um, and my wife hadn't been well, hadn't been feeling well for a number of months. She was also in education. Um, and when she finally went to the doctor, she started going through the tests. In June of 2022, we got the diagnosis of cancer. And in July, she passed away. Um, and that experience that myself and my four adult children, young adult children, went through, at the same time, two of my former students who I had kept in touch with for years experienced death in their lives as well. They both lost a sibling.
Mhm.
And in conversations with them during this time frame, really came to realize that what I had taught them, apparently I had taught my kids as well, and what I was dealing with was a huge benefit in helping us deal with that tragedy.
Mhm.
I also know from a lot of research I did after finding out my wife's illness, and was really beginning to be able to pinpoint some things that stress related that probably, well, in my mind, not probably, I am 100% convinced it did trigger the cancer. In
Mhm.
hindsight, now I could see that. So I began to realize that, oh man, what I do is so important for people.
Absolutely.
Um, I I decided to leave public education and have been doing this now on my own um, for going on now 3 years.
Absolutely. Well, Chuck, I'm sorry about the tragedy that you had to go through, but this is actually um, why and how the real teachers are coming, real coaches are coming. You live through the experience. You're not just learning by the book. You live it, and then from there you could really share your experience, and you could understand people who you're talking with. So this is amazing transformation that is happening, and I'm thankful that we got to meet and we got to talk and see how we can help people who listening to this podcast.
Absolutely. That's yeah, it's kind of become my mission to help people understand the connection between that mind and their health, mental health, physical health, how it's all tied in together.
Absolutely. And this is our group, Diabetes 101 for Beginners. We have many thousands of people joining our group. And every day we have at least 100 new members joining the group. And every day we read at least one post that is saying, I am so stressed out. I am so depressed. I am so nervous. I am so afraid. Posts that are indicating that people are really experiencing emotional effect of this diagnosis, on top of that they don't feel well either. And so many times I've heard from our guests, from people who are getting some results in managing their diagnosis, that until they were able to kind of uh, not cope, but accept their diagnosis and start looking forward instead of backward, they could not get things moving for them. Everything was kind of stuck and not feeling well, and they feel not well. But as soon as they reach that point saying, okay, I have it. I've been diagnosed. I have diabetes. What can I do? And that's when the progress starts, and they find ways to. Everybody's different. For everybody is a different way, but they at least start doing something. So that's how I see, and I see that the same thing with athletes, the same thing with kids. Once they're saying, "I'm poor me, will never I will not cross this line ever. This is in my genes. This is everybody in my family or whatever couldn't go to college because we are not that smart." Because we couldn't go to Olympic Games because we are not that strong, we couldn't do this because we are that. As soon as they abandon that mindset, they start seeing changes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
couple questions for you, Chuck, here,
Sure.
because Yeah, you had a question, you had a comment?
No, no, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So, our audience, people who were diagnosed, or maybe their relatives or friends were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, they want to learn more. They want to help themselves or help to their close ones. Uh, from your perspective, why managing stress is so important when you are trying to manage your diagnosis?
Yeah, there's so much research about the increase of stress levels and what it does to the immune system and the impact it has on the body's ability to kind of heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in so many diseases too, there's also lifestyle issues, right? So you have all of these factors kind of coming together, and the kind of common barrier or the common component there that's driving those is your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, I talk a lot about the importance of self-identity and uncovering your past. And the reason I talk about that, there's essentially five stages or processes that we kind of go through in what I refer to as a mindset transformation. The first thing is we got to get people where they're in a place where they're ready to take responsibility. And sometimes we throw that word out, like take responsibility. Well, what does that mean? How am I supposed to take responsibility? I do take responsibility, right? Well, from my standpoint, in the work I do, there's certain areas we need to begin to understand. One is time, and time's an interesting thing because people who are sick um, and struggling, time begins to make a shift, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you begin to see potential finality sometimes as well. And you also have all these pressures around managing your time because now you got to manage your disease and your illness and you've got to try to, the work, how am I going to work and all those kind of things. But how we also spend our time will tell us something about what we really value.
Yes.
So one of the first things we do is help people analyze how they're spending their time and what time means to them and things like that, because it helps us uncover some unconscious beliefs and potential values conflicts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one area you take responsibility for, but you also take responsibility for your labels, the beliefs you have, the
Yes.
emotions you have,
Yes.
and all of those things we don't often think about in terms of being responsible for those, but we really are. And once we kind of get people going, yeah, okay, yeah, I get that. All right, I understand that. I am ready to take responsibility. I'm willing to like do the things I know I need to do. We then need to get them to go to phase two, which is cleaning up their past.
Mm-hmm.
So people in general, but because we're talking about diabetes or health issues anyways, when you hear that diagnosis, there are there are belief systems around health and healing and specific diseases and all that are embedded in your unconscious mind that we gotta understand what those are that you have. Because if there's any that put a cap on what's possible, what's potential, then we've got to go take you through a process where you can let go of those
Yes.
because those beliefs can really inhibit your body's ability to work on healing. And whether that's working with a medicine that you're given and
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, whether it's working with changing lifestyle issues,
Yes.
all of those factors, your beliefs are huge in driving those, right? So with something like diabetes in the treatments, there are changes that doctors going to recommend you make in your lifestyle issues.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the power of beliefs that you probably aren't even aware of can have a huge impact on how challenging or how easy it is to incorporate these changes. Um, so we've got to we've got to take responsibility for all those things. And the same goes for unresolved negative emotions. And this was something that, when we finally got the diagnosis for my wife, and I knew she had been under stress at work. There was a whole lot of circumstances,
No
things were going
questions
in
about that. Yeah.
beginning just before COVID came
Mm-hmm.
in the school system she worked in that was creating a really toxic environment.
Mm-hmm.
And for my wife, she worked in the system she grew up in. She spent virtually her entire life in this school system as a student, as a teacher, as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really like hitting home.
Yeah.
And, I thought she was dealing with this in a healthy way. There's things in place, but it turned out that she really wasn't. She was holding on to some of these emotions. So sadly, it came too late for us to really do anything. But when I helped her release these emotions that we went through the same process to other people let go, I could see, like, you could physically see the, the letting go of it. Now, we didn't get there early enough,
Yes.
right? The cancer was too advanced.
Mm-hmm.
But that sort of releasing of some of these emotions that people holding on to will have a profound impact on their ability for their body to then begin to work optimally. And so many of them, people don't necessarily realize that they're really holding on to it, which was really kind of the case with my wife, right? She
Yes.
had a support group. There was a group of her peers that they would go out, they would do things, they would talk, they would vent, they would do some of these healthy things. Um, Again, in hindsight, I saw some of the things that she used to do that she stopped doing that
Mm-hmm.
should have been, in my mind, now, I should have recognized that earlier. But you know, those are the important aspects of letting go of the past.
Yes.
The next thing we do is, all right, now we got to start getting some habits built in your life so that you can then build a positive mindset, a mindset that's really going to help you heal and all. So the next three stages aren't even really necessarily about building that positive mindset. It's really about getting ready for that by having the habits in place in your life.
Mhm.
And these habits are crucial for helping people heal and deal with stress and emotions. I talk about two fundamental habits. That's morning rituals and evening rituals, and learning some simple techniques that I'm not like, it's like every coach who does this kind of
Yes.
stuff teaches these sort of things, mindfulness and meditation and exercise routines and some uh, principles around nutrition and health stuff. I don't necessarily teach specifics about nutrition. I actually have people in my organization who can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But um, we talk about creating habits that will help you deal with all the stressors and emotions and manage your life better. And and boy, when you hear diagnoses like you've got diabetes or you've got cancer, you've got any of that, you just ratcheted up those emotions like
Yes.
tremendously. So to get those habits, you got to utilize the power of synergy. That's typically like your family and people who are close to you.
Mm-hmm.
Bring them into the whole process. Take them through the whole process as well. And then we kind of move from habits to rituals.
Yeah.
And rituals are more ceremonial than habits. There's
Yes.
more design and purpose behind them than habits. So we're building the habits, we take those and we use the power of synergy, and then we say, all right, what do we have to do to make these ceremonial?
Mm-hmm.
And you begin incorporating those. And those all kind of time wise kind of blend together. You kind of in many ways doing those simultaneously. But those are really the steps we talk about. And when you incorporate those, inevitably you begin to master your emotions much more. When you begin to have a regular habit of training your breathing
Yes.
and doing mindfulness, and you, this is no longer something that you just talk about, you do it and you live it,
Uh-huh.
it improves your health. Like
And you see the
it
results.
does. Like there's like you can't not improve your health when you do those things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of power of it. And while like when I work with teenagers or families, oftentimes they have a different objective in mind. Like they want to improve their athletic performance so they can get into college and get a scholarship. They want to improve their academic performance for the same thing. This stuff works on that, but by also working on your mental health and your physical health, your energy begins to improve.
Mm-hmm.
Your confidence improves. Your relationships improve, right?
Definitely.
All of
Yes.
those peripheral things kind of go along with this. So, um, that's why I kind of say if you master your mindset, you can learn to master the other aspects of your life. That's becomes a driver of it.
Absolutely. Yes, and listening to you, you said so many you touched so many important points here, and I like this word rituals because I personally believe that for those who uh, trying to take control over their health and break their bad habits or bad, traditions that may be in their environment, in their family, maybe, uh, and learn better habits and exercise better routines. When it's becoming a ritual, it's becoming so natural to you that you don't even think about it. You just do it. It's a routine that it's becoming part of you, the one that you already have to really force yourself to break. So when it's become that normal to you, it's so much easier to follow the rules, follow those common recommendations and routines that are helping to control your health.
Yeah, absolutely. And I so many people want the easy, quick fix, right?
Yes.
And there are, there's some quick aspects like showing somebody how they can let go of a belief is a fairly simple and easy process once we've discovered the belief. I got to spend three-quarters of my time helping the person discover the belief and then fix it is relatively quick. But things like then building habits, that's it's, it's not quick. It's
Mhm.
I can't tell people it's an easy process because just about everybody has had the experience of setting New Year's resolutions, right? And you get,
Yes.
2 weeks in and it falls apart.
Yes.
This is where having structure, building in accountability partners, contracts, I even build in like financial incentives, anything I could do to help encourage, push, prod, whatever, people to build those habits. But ultimately, this is why I go back to that first step is taking responsibility. Ultimately, that falls right back on them, right?
Mhm.
So we do everything we can as a coaching program system, et cetera, to get all those pieces in place so that we can help them get those things changed and those new habits, those new beliefs and things beginning to take root and grow.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And this is so important to work with that and keep it kind of like on top of your thoughts, right? And because sometimes we get focused on some one thing and forget about what we actually do believe, what we actually would like to achieve, what is actually our ultimate goal. And because of this one little thing, I cannot do the whole program. No, it's there is a way to get around this little thing. Maybe there is some substitute. There is some other way to achieve that little step. But the main thing is to keep your mindset, well, kind of not focused, not, but once you achieve the mindset of healthy life, of healthy relationships, of healthy, I don't know, productivity, then everything is becoming easier to achieve because you know why you're doing that, because you know what you need to do, and you already figured out. You already have it in in plan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The skills we teach are really in large part helping you become your own life coach. Now,
Yes.
then there are times when things come up in your life though that you get drawn into the problem too much and you need somebody from outside to kind of
Yes.
help you through that. But when you develop some of these habits and beliefs and skills, there are so many, quote, storms of life that
Hmm.
you are then equipped to sail through
Yes.
on your own.
Yes.
You know, and that's ultimately the goal.
Absolutely. And this is yes. Every athlete, every world champion, Olympic champion, you call it, they all have coaches. They already know what to do, but there's somebody who is watching from outside, who is managing whatever they're doing from the outside. They can see a bigger picture. Like Zig Ziglar was saying, it's hard to see the picture when you are in the frame, right? You
Yes,
need someone from outside, maybe not every day, but to kind of signal you that, hey, you kind of off track right now. Maybe you need to go get back. Maybe remember, maybe you need to be reminded about your goal, your why you're doing that. Well, Chuck,
absolutely.
I know you and I, we can talk about all this for a very long time.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we are at the end of our show. I wanted to ask you if people want to continue conversation with you, if they want to reach out to you, what would be the best way to reach out to you?
Uh, CoachChuck360.com is my website. And
Okay.
on that website, there's a bunch of icons and stuff that pop up. There's a contact me
Hmm.
little icon, and they can click on that, and there's different ways of contacting me. And I actually have like a blueprint for like a wellness blueprint that I would be more than happy if it's all right to offer that as a free gift for any of your
Absolutely.
guests. Um, all they would need to do is on that contact me, send me a text with their first and last name and best email, and then
Yes.
just say podcast
Offer.
gift.
Yes.
And when I see that, I will get that, and I will probably even give them a link to a webinar that may help them out too. So
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. Thank you. This would be, I think, a great help for people. I will also put under the post with this podcast the link to your website for those who didn't have time to write it down, so people will be able to reach out to you. And while we are wrapping up, I just wanted to remind everyone again, this is Diabetically Speaking with Smart Move 360 podcast. This is our third season, and we are in Facebook, YouTube, we are on LinkedIn. So if you are watching this and you find it useful, please like it or love it. If you are thinking that this is something that your friend or relative needs to see, please share it with them. Let them know about it. Because by helping others, you are also helping more people than you think. It also helps our channel to stay on top of the algorithm of all those social media uh, sites. They work. The more people see it, the more people will see it. Another request for everybody who is listening: if you have your favorite doctor, if you have your favorite coach, if you have your favorite mentor who will be willing to speak with our audience about diabetic topics, please connect them with me. I will be happy to make arrangements and we will have the podcast with them. If you are the one who has an amazing story, or maybe just the story that you are willing to share with people, reach out to me and you will be one of my warrior guests. Because at the end of the month, we have one episode, the very last Thursday of the month is the warrior episode when our people with diabetes sharing their stories and just to let you know that this is not such a rare diagnosis. More people than you know it have it. Um, just a quick reminder that on Tuesdays we have Telenurse Tuesday opportunity where you could type your questions and our nurses will answer it. On Wednesdays, every other Wednesday, we have support group meetings where people could, our members joining our meetings, and we talk in person in Zoom about challenges, maybe have questions. We have usually diabetes educators with us, so they are helping us out to find the answers. And on Thursdays, of course, our podcast at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we are there, and I hope you are listening to us. With that, we are already almost 2 minutes over. Chuck, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for your for your story. It's inspiring. It's sad, but I hope that more people will learn from it rather than just feel sad, because this is a success story at the end, and it just unfortunate that it took that turn. I will
Well,
see you tomorrow, Chuck. We will be doing
yes.
more podcasting, and I hope everyone will come back to us the following week, Thursday, 4 p.m., to listen to our new episode. Until then, have a great week and talk to you next time.